mean, a lot of people want to know what to do with their carrots when they juice them. Now, this is probably the juice of about 12 carrots. Okay? So this would make about 2 to 2.5 cups of carrot juice, which is wonderful. So most people say that you should have maybe a cup of carrot juice a day. I always have like a full glass, which is like 2 cups. But let's just say you do that. You have all of this left. And a lot of people just compost it or throw it out. But this is good stuff. It's really good for you, and it's a shame to waste it. So what we're going to do today is we are going to make a raw carrot cake.
Ooh, my favorite.
Yeah, carrot cake. And the thing is, you know, carrot cake tastes really good cooked, but raw, it has this incredibly rich flavor, and it's very easy to make. It is something that is really just going to take us a few minutes. So what we have here is just the pulp from the carrots, and as you can see, it's really thick and dense. And the thing that makes carrot cake different, raw carrot cake different from cooked carrot cake, is that it has that dense flavor. So for people that don't like things that are really dense and intense, they want to go easy on this, or they'll have like a little sliver of it.
Sure.
You know, if you have a big hunk of raw carrot cake, well, it'll be hard to eat because it's so rich.
Gotcha.
It's so rich. So this is just the carrots itself. It has a little bit of ginger in there, you know, just for some spice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these raisins have been soaked overnight. These raisins have been soaked overnight, and you see they're nice and plump and juicy and yummy. So we're going to use half of these and the raisin water. We're going to put this in our blender. So
any particular type of raisin?
There are 2 types of raisins. I like the regular raisins, other than, you know, rather than the golden raisins, just for color, you know, just for that, and because it's nice and sweet. But the other thing that I like to use are currants. And the reason why I like currants is because they're smaller, they have a little bit of a tart flavor, and they're not quite as sweet as the raisins. But today we're going to go sweet and decadent and yummy.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
So,
and with the currants, you would soak those as well.
Yeah, you would soak them. You definitely want to soak them because when you blend, you want to have a real nice smooth consistency. And so this smooth consistency comes from soaking the fruit and the nuts overnight. So we're going to take half of these. And look at that, yummy and juicy. And when you're making a raw carrot cake, what's really nice is that you can use this water as well to help blend, and then you don't lose all the flavor of the carrot. So we're going to do about half of this because the other half we're going to use for the icing. And you get to choose. I think what we're going to do is some type of a lemon icing, but we can do lemon lavender. We can do all kinds of, you know, so think about
lavender.
What might be interesting. We could do lemon lavender. We could do lemon orange. We're going to make an icing, and the base is going to be cashews. Cashews are used as a thickener in a lot of raw foods, and it tastes amazing. It's really hard to describe. You'll know once we get to that part. So
now, almonds are sometimes used as a...
We're going to use almonds too.
Okay.
Yep, we're going to put some almonds in there. We're going to use about half of this water. Okay, that's about half of the raisins. Okay, so now we have our raisins that have been soaked overnight. Now we have almonds that have been soaked overnight, and almonds are a really wonderful nut because all nuts are acidic, but almonds are a little bit more on the alkaline side. So for most people, almonds are the everyday nut of choice. But in order to digest them properly, it is best to soak them overnight, whether or not you're using them in a raw food recipe.
Really?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And a lot of people don't realize that, but when you soak them overnight, it makes it, again, bioavailable. It makes it easier for your body to digest. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to put all of these fabulous almonds into the blender. And because they've been soaked, they're going to blend really nicely. And it's going to give the carrot cake that kind of nutty flavor, but not the grit so much because the nuts have been soaked. And then we're going to add about 3 dates. Now, a lot of people make carrot cake with a lot more dates than that, but I find that it's way too sweet. So these dates have been soaked overnight and pitted. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to add some spice. Cinnamon is a fabulous spice, and when you think of carrot cake, everyone thinks of cinnamon and they may think of cloves and so forth. But, and you know, I have been accused of not measuring things. So for our listening audience, this is about a tablespoon of cinnamon, but I am like my great grandma. I do not measure anything. I just put a little dash of this, a little dash of that. So today we're going to do cinnamon, and we're going to do another spice that a lot of people have not heard of. It is an incredible spice, very well known in India. And if you've ever had Indian food, you've definitely had it. The spice is called cardamom. And cardamom is amazing. Take a smell of that.
It almost smells like eucalyptus.
Yeah, it does kind of have that smell to it, and cardamom is wonderful because it can be used as a savory spice in meats and foods that you would think of more on the salty side, or it can be used with sweet stuff. So for example, the combination of cardamom and chocolate, it is just amazing. It is incredible. So we're going to add a little bit of this fresh ground cardamom. You can buy ground cardamom in the supermarket, but I find when you grind it fresh, it is incredibly aromatic. And it adds an amazing flavor.
Sorry, aside from the flavor aspect, does it also have any other health benefits or
incredible healing properties? It is an incredible digestive herb, and it has a laundry list of healing properties. It is incredible. It is the main spice in chai, as a matter of fact.
Really?
So people that have chai, they're like, what is that taste? It is cardamom. Cardamom, there are 2 types of cardamom that are put in chai, and so I usually put it in something that's sweet like this because it adds a special kind of a flavor. It's kind of hard to describe, and a lot of people say, well, gee, what is that about? And I also put cardamom in foods that, just in case, you know, when you start eating raw foods, you have what is called the intestinal adjustment. Yeah, and the intestinal adjustment can be pleasant or not. And for most people, it is rather not. It is rather clear the room intestinal adjustment. And so one way to help with that issue is to put spices that help digest the food. And that's another reason why I put cardamom in there. So this is primarily for, you know, that extra special different spice, and it's also because it is wonderful for digestion. So now we've got everything in where we have our raisins that have been soaked with the raisin water, we have our almonds that have been soaked, we have a few dates, we've got cardamom and cinnamon in our Vitamix. And you don't have to use a Vitamix for this recipe, but if there are a few, you know, pieces of equipment that I find essential, you know, for the kitchen, it is a Vitamix. Vitamix is a supersonic blender. You can use it for so many different things. It's very high powered, and yes, it is a little bit pricey, but I have to tell you, it is so worth the money. So now we're going to blend this on high until it gets, you know, nice and creamy. And now for the fun part. We taste it to see if it's sweet enough and if it's ready to be put in with the carrots. So we have a little tasting spoon. And we also taste to see if the consistency is quite right. Let's give it a whirl and see. So you go first.